We begin tonight with breaking news out of the Spokane Valley. A Spokane Valley Police officer shoots and kills a man while responding to a domestic violence call earlier this evening. It happened on Progress Road, 1 block north of Valleyway in the Spokane Valley. KXLY4's Jeff Humphrey joins us live from the scene with the latest. Jeff.
And McKay, this incident got its start about 7:30 this evening when Spokane Valley Police were responding to a report of a man armed with a knife fighting with other residents of a halfway house not far from Progress and Valleyway. Arriving officers found that man, reportedly in his 50s, leaving the scene on foot. Apparently there was a confrontation between the deputy and the man with a knife. Apparently the suspect got too close to that officer while he was still armed with the knife, and the officer opened fire.
It was several males, they were fighting, and the male suspect left on foot, which is why we're several blocks away from the residence where they were living. And the encounter certainly happened in the middle of the street.
So the man who was shot, McKay, was transported to the Valley Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The officer involved, he was taken to the Valley Precinct where his weapon and his uniform were seized as evidence. Both the Major Crimes Office of the Spokane Police Department as well as the Washington State Patrol now investigating this officer-involved shooting.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, one quick question for you tonight. Do we know exactly what happens to this officer now? He's debriefed. At what point will we know the details of exactly what he says happened, Jeff?
Well, that's a really good question, because up until just recently, the protocol that has now been invoked would call for this officer to only give a tactical debrief, a quick explanation of what happened, and that he's not spoken to by investigators for another 3 days. But as you'll recall, Ozzie Knezovich, along with a labor union representing these deputies, agreed that that is not necessary. And so now this particular officer, if he chooses to, could speak with investigators as early tonight as to exactly what happened here. That has now been left up to the officer. We know that the president of the labor group was notified about this, and now that this officer has visited with his union representation, it's his decision to wait those 3 days or tell investigators right now exactly what happened here and why his use of deadly force was justified.
Thank you, Jeff, and we will keep up to date on this story on KXLY.com.